So we're in Google Classroom again, and this time I'm going to Classwork and I'm going to take a quick look at assignments. So I'm going to create my first assignment and I'm going to go to Assignment. So I'm going to use this because I want the students to be able to submit work that I've set, and also I want to be able to add feedback to that work that's been set. You'll notice an alert there because we've added licenses to everybody now. We've got some additional features and originality reports that we'll look at a later date, and now part of Google Documents, so that we can check for web originality when students submit a piece of written work. So I'm just going to say got it. But there we go, we can check for plagiarism if we want to. I'm going to call this feelings, and then I would add some instructions just to explain what I want the students to do in the particular assignment. Whoops. Just to complete the Google Doc. And then I'm going to go to, if I've got the resource already, I'm going to go to add that from my Google Drive. So again, it's probably best practice to have your Google Drive populated with your files. Otherwise, you might want to add them from, you could add them from a pen drive to Google Drive. That would be okay. So I'm going to locate my feelings vocabulary there and insert that document. It's given me an alert here about the settings. So there are, I think, 3 settings. Students can view the file only if I want them to not edit the file. Or the students can view and edit the same single file. So that means every student would be editing the same file. But generally what you're looking at is that each student gets a copy of the file themselves. So I'm going to say got it. I'm going to click on this drop down and I'm going to make a copy for each student. So each student gets their own copy, and that way I can better track what they've done for the assignment. So I'm going to make a copy for each student. You can see that at the moment there's no due date. It can be useful actually adding a due date. Let's say this is due on Tuesday. I can specify the time. I'm going to leave the time out for now, but I can specify time if I wanted to. So I'm just going to set a date, and that would add it to the calendar. So that's why it's useful to add a date, just because it shows up in the calendar view as well. The other thing that is useful is to use topics. So at the moment I have no topics because I haven't created any assignments to order them in. So I'm going to create a topic, and I'm going to say now there are different ways you could do this. You can use topics thematically to theme your Google documents and assignments, or you can use a numeric way of doing it, so you could track them in that sense. Or the way that I'm going to do it in this example is I'm just going to say, okay, so I've created, or I'm going to create a new topic, and I'm going to use this topic this way. I'm going to put this in let me put a W there, as week 1. So again, you can use these as themes, or you can use them in a way that is a little bit more numeric and follows the weeks of the course. So again, just have a think about how you could use topics to structure the work that you're using. So I'm going to call mine week 1. Again, something else that we can look at is, at the moment it's grading on points. I'm going to turn this to ungraded. So I think sometimes when you're using points, students are expecting to get a score, and if you're not scoring, then it makes sense to make it ungraded. And also it feels a little bit more summative when it's set to a points-based grade. So I'm going to leave that as ungraded, and then I'm just going to assign that to the class. Just wait for that to assign, and there we go. I've got week 1, and in week 1 is feelings. The other reason I've put week 1 in, again, is just a suggestion, is that in when I archive this course and I come to this course, if I want to look at it next year, my weekly sessions would be there, and I would be able to see what I did, obviously week by week, but I can reuse the course itself, so I could take the entire course and reuse it. Again, we'll look at that at a later date. But we can reuse the entire course, or I could reuse posts. But it just means it would be maybe slightly easier for me to locate a post if I've done them in a way that makes sense to me, and I can see how that works. So just using it weekly for me means I can track where I'm posting and what I'm posting chronologically. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on Google Calendar, and you'll notice if I go to the 30th, is that when I set it, then in my calendar I can now see the assignment is there, which is the feelings, and a link to the Google Doc as well. Okay, so we'll look at the student view in the next video.